Hey everyone, this is QuickBooks for real estate investors, how to organize your portfolio using QuickBooks, and this is our part 4 of our continuing videos. If you remember, we left off last time with creating a US bank checking account, adding some money into our checking account, and I described the chart of accounts to you, probably in a little bit of nauseating detail, but anyway. Nonetheless, we're going to continue our video series with how to add a how to add a savings account. Most of you who are investors probably have more than just one bank account, and I know for myself I have multiple. So we did the checking account, now we're going to do the savings account, and we'll take it a little bit further after that as well. Alright, so from the last video series, you know that we can come down here, we're in the chart of accounts, and we can come down to the menu on the bottom left and add new, or what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to press Control and N, and that's going to bring up our new account window. Control N stands for new. And again, like our checking account, I'm going to select bank account. And just like before, I'm going to name this with my bank, and then I'm going to give it a descriptor. So this is going to be US Bank Savings. It's not a sub-account. This description is for you only. It will help you remember what type of account it is. We've done a good job in naming our account, so we don't really need a further description. Our bank account number is, again, dependent upon you, and like I said in our last part, if you don't have an administrator password, I recommend not entering this information in, because if you do enter it in and you don't have a password, someone can easily get in here and steal your money. Unless you're a CPA or accountant, I recommend ignoring tax line mapping. And where I got goofed up last time is this opening balance. Whoops, did not mean to do that. On a side note, you can click on these. You saw I accidentally clicked on that, and that brought up this help window. This is pretty good. QuickBooks does a pretty good job of answering your questions. So if I'm doing a bad job or you want further explanation, click on this, and you can get some additional help. But anyway, so I butchered the entering opening balance on last video. I won't do it again for you. US Bank Savings Account also probably has an opening balance if you've been in business longer than you've been using QuickBooks. So I'm going to go ahead and enter one in for our example. And again, this has to correspond with the start date you chose for your QuickBooks business, your QuickBooks record. So in part 1 of this example, I chose January 1st, 2013 as the starting date of my QuickBooks records. Because I chose January 1st, I might have just said January 31st. Anyway, it's January 1st, 2013. I want to have the balance on that day be correct. So I need to go one period before January, which is December. So my ending date of the period before January of December is 12/31/2012. And I'm going to say that in my savings account I have $15,000 on that date. Okay? Again, if you're different from me and you have a fiscal year, or you've chosen to start your QuickBooks records on a different date than January 1st, 2013, you'll have to go to the period immediately before that start date. So I gave the other example of July 1st, 2013, starting my QuickBooks records. In that case, I would use June 30th and whatever balance my savings account might be on that day. So I would go to my bank account, go to my online banking, or pull up a paper statement and see whatever my ending balance was on June 30th, 2013. Since that's not the current example that I'm working with, I'm going to go back to the appropriate example, which is December 31st, 2012. okay, and I know on that date my ending balance, my statement, pull up my statement and look at it and say, okay, my ending balance on December 31st, 2012 was $15,000. That's what I'm going to use because the next month, January, is when I start my business, and I want to be able to enter those transactions in for January. If you notice something when I entered that date, I just did 12 period 31 period 12. QuickBooks recognizes that and will take that in. You don't have to click on this little calendar and use the left or right arrows to get where you want to go. You can just start typing, and it will know what you mean. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. That opening balance is now complete, and I can click Save and Close. It's going to remind me that this transaction is more than 90 days in the past because I am recording this video in August of 2013, and this transaction date is as of December 31st, 2012, which is okay. We want to say yes. Okay. So now we've got our bank accounts entered. If you've got more bank accounts, you might have multiple checking accounts. You might have a money market account. You might have, I'm trying to think what else you could have. That's probably it. You really don't want to use. You only want to use this designation, this type, this bank type for bank accounts. An IRA does not count. A long-term savings plan that you can't easily withdraw money from does not count. So unless it's really a checking, savings, or a money market fund, I would caution you from using the designation of bank in any other type of account. So really checking, savings, and money market. That's what you should be using that bank account for. So if you've got more bank accounts, you can enter those in following the same protocol, new, and then entering all of your relevant information, including the proper opening balance from when you started your QuickBooks records. Okay, alright, so we've got that done. Finally, right? Who knew that adding a bank account in QuickBooks could be so complicated? But there's a lot of things to consider, and your average person will do this and will probably just say, hey, I've got money in the bank, I want to put it in there, and ignore some of the other details that I've outlined for you. So keeping good records, that's something that's important, and I've told you how to do it the right way. Alright, so next part, I'm going to show you how you will be funding your purchase of more real estate. At this point, you'll notice that we don't have any fixed assets. We don't have any buildings. We don't have anything. All we've got is a checking and savings account with $20,000 combined, and we've had that before we started our business. You notice we have member 1 draws, member 1 equity, member 2 draws, member 2 equity. We don't have any equity in our business either. Nobody's put in any money. So we'll get after that in later parts, but this is good enough for adding a savings account and going over once more how to enter an opening balance and why that's important. We'll see you again in part 5. Thanks for watching. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing. You can send me an email also if you've got a question or you'd like me to do a video about your specific problem. Thanks for watching. See you next time.